Hello, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Legal Huddle. Yay! We're so very excited for you guys to join us today. My name is Cindy Gregory, and this is Jessica Verkler, my partner in crime.
Hey, it's me. Hello, all, and welcome. This is our first episode. We're really excited. I know you've seen some of our episodes with our football outlines, recaps, whatnot.
Shenanigans.
Yep, pretty much, go Bears.
Go Pecca.
But Cindy and I have worked together on several projects throughout the years, and we've decided to start this podcast to share with our viewers about this new legal licensure in the state of Colorado and to throw in some football humor. Of course, the humor is always when the Bears win and the Packers lose. This is the best. But
It'll be different next year, trust me.
we'll see about next year. But if you haven't seen our other podcast episodes, just check those out. We are recapping the season a little bit and what's going to happen with the Super Bowl upcoming. But just a little bit about myself. I've been a paralegal for about 24 years now, I think. So a long time, mostly in family law. I enjoy what I do. I am a big believer in access to justice, so I sit on a lot of boards for that. I'm obviously a Bears fan, and so hey. In my pastime, obviously, I'm out there, supporting the community as much as I can. But also, I'm raising a daughter, and I play on little roller derby on the side.
A little.
Yeah.
She's pretty awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
What
You're
about
what,
you,
Jaeger
friend?
shots?
I am. Don't tell anyone. No, it's fine. What about you, friend?
So I've been a paralegal since 1999, which ages me quite a bit. But I was in the Air Force when I first left high school, and I became a paralegal in 99. And then I separated from the military in 2003, became a civilian paralegal, and have been paralegaling ever since. Um, I have been in family law for about 10 years now. I was in other practice areas before that, but family law is where my heart is. And so, just much like Jessica, I serve on several boards. So Jessica and I are on a few together, which I'll let her explain. But yeah, we're excited about this new licensure and to spread the word and share with you what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like Cindy said, together right now we're sit on the board of the Pikes Peak Paralegals. So we're supporting our paralegal association here in Colorado Springs. Additionally, we have co-founded the Licensed Legal Paraprofessional LLP section with the Bar Association and of the Bar Association after we were sworn in July of 2024.
So let's talk a little bit about this new licensure, the LLPs. It's licensed legal paraprofessionals. There's been a massive shift in the legal field, especially with the landscape here in Colorado. If you've ever tried to navigate a divorce on your own, and having to battle a lawyer on the other side, it can be very intimidating. Feel like you're just thrown in the deep end. And so that's kind of where licensed legal paraprofessionals come into play.
Right, yeah, exactly. And statistics show that in about 75% of the domestic relations cases in Colorado, at least one person is self-represented. And that's a huge number of people who go alone against the system. And I think what we see a lot is that they don't know what to do with things, and then things get clogged up, and the judges are like, what is happening? And so it doesn't come to like case conclusion. So the legislatures thought this would be a good way of helping out getting some of these paralegals to become licensed legal paraprofessionals.
Yes. And so that happened officially in 2024. I know that the program has been in the works since about 2020, I believe,
Mhm.
2019 to 2020. But finally, 2024 was when, the first group of us, or the inaugural class, was able to go through the training and the exam that we took. And so there's now this new bridge to a bridge for that gap in justice. And so we kind of look at ourselves, and this is something that you guys could think about, is we're kind of like the nurse practitioners of the legal field. So we can kind of go into that a little bit further, but we're definitely the nurse practitioners at the courtroom.
Right. And so there is some misconceptions out there that LLPs are just a fancy word for a paralegal, but that's not true. A paralegal has to be supervised by an attorney, but an LLP does not. We stand on our own. We have our own licensure, and bar number through the Colorado Supreme Court. We can practice law independently with specific limited scope.
Yes. And so, like Jessica said, we can represent clients in the courtroom with some caveats, obviously. The LLPs, licensed legal paraprofessionals, they are they specialize specifically in family law. So we can't go out and represent clients in criminal matters or
Right.
landlord-tenant issues or civil lawsuits or anything like that.
Can you just imagine we would do that?
Oh no, I don't.
Crazy.
No, no, thank you. No, thank you. So basically family law issues like divorce, legal separations, child custody, child support, parenting time, those types of issues, we can assist in. We can draft motions, we can file those motions and sign them, with the court. We can actually give legal advice, which as paralegals are not allowed to give legal advice. Um, and the big thing is we're allowed to be there in the courtroom and sit with our clients at the council table. But the rules have recently changed.
Yes, so as of December 1st, 2025, so just last month, the Colorado Supreme Court actually expanded the powers. So what they did is we can now, as LLPs, examine and cross-examine witnesses and make legal arguments in many cases. So originally we were more like the silent partners at the table, and now we are more of a driving force, right? Almost like an attorney, just the same. And so we can fully advocate for our clients because I think the courts realized that the Supreme Court especially that there is a lack and it was kind of weaponized as well in some cases where they were like, okay, well, there's an LLP, she can't or they can't really do what they need to. And so expanding the rule with that was very important. And I think it's giving us a little bit more help to help our clients.
Correct. And it's more than just a certificate. It's not, and that I think is the big misconception
Right.
nowadays is everyone thinks that the LLP is just a certificate that you get, but it's an actual licensure. We had to go through the whole process of training. We had to sit for a mini bar exam. It was an all-day process. There were in three parts.
I
Um,
feel like nothing felt mini about that. It
it
was
no,
it was I
it was
still
stressful.
very I feel still very stressed about it when I think about it.
Yeah, and that, I mean, we're almost 2 years after our exam date, and I'm still stressed about the
Well, and
exam.
let's tell a little story. Like a lot of the people that were testing that morning were up there and they stayed up there. I couldn't because I had to get my daughter to school.
Oh, that stressed me
So
out
I
even
had to
more.
drive at 4 in the morning up to Denver, hoping that nothing happens and I'm gonna be on time. And then I get there and everybody's just like, "Thank God you're here."
Yes, yes. We were texting Jessica on her drive up, worried that she was not going to
I
make
did
it.
not respond.
So the exam is set up just like any other like college exam, where you're proctored. The exam is actually proctored. So if you're not at the exam at a specific time, you don't get in. They
Right.
also do security checks. They make sure you have to check your pockets. I mean, you can only bring certain things. Our water containers had to be clear water containers.
It felt a little invasive, but I knew why.
It was, but I think that, I mean, obviously they don't want people bringing in, cheat sheets or anything else like that. But it was definitely very much mirroring what an actual attorney bar exam is. Um, and so not just anyone can become an LLP. There are some requirements, educational requirements, work history experience requirements. So as far as work history is concerned, you have to have had at least 1,500 hours of substantive legal work. 500 of those hours have to be specific in family law, in order to even qualify for um, that route. Or you can qualify through education. So usually it would be a degree in paralegal studies. Even attorneys who have law degrees that maybe haven't passed the bar yet, or have decided that they don't want to be a full-blown attorney with all of the other, things, they can become an LLP as long as they again go through the same thing that we had to go through as far as the exam is concerned. Um, Not just the exam, but there's a character and fitness portion very similar. Actually, I think it's the same exact
I think
one that the
so.
attorneys go
Okay.
through. Which that one, I think that stressed me out a lot too because,
Right. You
um,
are a character for sure.
right, right. Yeah, put
Same.
your characters in question. No, I'm just kidding. But you have to go through and you have to get your, your driving record, your if you've been divorced before, you have to get those
Right.
documents, and I've been divorced before. I was divorced over 25 years ago and I had to track down my divorce decree from another state. So it's just, all of that stuff. You have to get fingerprinted. You have to have character references. They interview those references. It's a whole
I did offer my firstborn that didn't want her, so
yeah,
they have really specific
they
outlines there.
they have decided that they don't want to pay child support.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, so that's basically, kind of, how you qualify to be able to sit for the exam.
right, right. Yeah, so essentially you have to be specialized in family law and you're not able to represent anyone in any other field of law, which I mean that's just the point. The need is right here in this field, domestic relations, family law, and that's where we're trying to gap and bridge that gap. And what that means is because we can offer law retainers, right? We can offer not full representation. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes people prefer not having an attorney on there because sometimes it could be making things more high conflict. Which we are kind of the same though, but not, right? It's just the title sometimes makes a difference. Um, you know, it gets tricky when it comes to the fees, right? And obviously we have to do what our firms want us to do, and kind of talk about that. But I think in the overall aspect, we try to do things on a lower retainer and pro bono cases for sure, right? A lot of people
Mhm.
can't afford an attorney, and that's what we're here for, really. So we're trying to help with that instead of these huge retainers that have to be paid. Now, to kind of caveat that, we're not trying to take business from attorneys. We are
Yeah.
not. That's what we're not here for. But we definitely have to educate attorneys, other people, judges, and especially the community about what we are. And I think that's what part of this podcast is for.
Yeah,
So
very much so. And much like what Jessica just said, there is a lot of confusion as far as what this licensure is for, who it's for, what we do. Like she had touched on there, some of the attorneys think that, we're taking business from them, but with 75% unrepresented individuals in domestic relations,
right,
there's plenty of cases to go around. There's only 128 of us right now in Colorado. There'll be more as time goes by, but that's a very, very small chunk of representation available for those individuals. So when should someone hire an LLP over an attorney? That, I guess is subjective. It just depends. But typically what an LLP kind of case would look like is, maybe the ones that aren't the high assets, the, high income earners. It's usually the middle of the road individuals that maybe just can't afford the high expense of an attorney, but yet, they don't qualify for
right.
the legal services from, Colorado legal
And we can
services.
probably extend that too to like extreme parenting time issues, to abuse
Hmm.
issues, domestic
Hmm.
violence, things like that. So, just kind of like she said, middle of the ground is probably a good one. And the question is probably like, should I hire an LLP or should I not? Like, why wouldn't you have someone on your side to kind of guide you through the process with a little bit more of an understanding and knowledge?
Hmm. And so we kind of look at it, we kind of go back to the whole nurse practitioner kind of thing. So let's just say you have a broken arm and you need a checkup, and you could go to a nurse practitioner for that. But if you need surgery on your broken arm, you would want to go to a surgeon. So that's kind of how we would, kind of
Mhm.
relate how LLPs are to attorneys as nurse practitioners are to full-blown doctors.
Yes. So it's a good metaphor would probably be like heart surgery, like for the complex cases. So, multi-million dollar cases and businesses, because businesses is one thing where we kind of have some limitations, when it comes to complicated issues. And so there's a bench card that's out there that we share if people need to look at what we can and cannot do, but it's very specific of what we cannot do. And if it's really not, there, we can do most things,
Mhm.
right? So the implication is that.
Yes. And there's always cases, we've all heard it, anybody that's in the legal field. My case is very simple. We're amicable. We're gonna have agreements, and then in a week or two, it just goes downhill very, very
Oh,
quickly. And all of a sudden, you've got fireworks going
right.
on and bombs exploding and all kinds of things.
And
So
vice versa,
yeah,
really. If you, ever, if you're in the field, you're seeing it, right?
hmm
Now, if you're clientele, you're probably hoping always for the best.
exactly.
We're here to help problem solve, right? We're not here to make things more complicated, but also we have the ability now to represent clients if things go awry, and to help through the situations in a more broader,
hmm
not licensure, I want to say broader spectrum. Sorry.
Yes, yes. And also the thing is we have the duty and ethical obligation that if we feel like the case is outside of our expertise, we have the duty to step back from that case. So we can get another attorney. If we're working in a firm, we can have an attorney jump in. We can refer it to an attorney. It's really up to us and our ethical obligations to make sure that we are taking cases that we feel confident in our abilities, in our knowledge. And just because we're authorized to do a certain type of case doesn't mean that we should take that case.
Right.
It's up to each LLP to make that determination on whether or not they feel that their skills and their ability are up to par.
Right. And just touching on the ethical obligations real quick, we are under the same obligations an attorney is. So even with our limited scope, we have to do ethics credits, we have to do CLEs, we
Mhm.
have to be in good standing, we have to pay the fees, and we have to do all the things just like an attorney. So we're under a very, very big microscope, just like attorneys are to do the right things under ethical obligations. To the Supreme Court and to the Office of Regulation, Attorney
Mhm.
Regulation. So this is a good thing because we are being monitored as well to do the right things, and obviously we all of us here in El Paso County, especially since we know each other, right? Try to do things all the right way, and I'm very proud of our community down here and that everyone's doing really the right things and getting out there for their clients.
Yes, yes. And just like Jessica said, our community, I mean the LLPs as a whole, we're all such a great group of people who are sharing their experiences, their knowledge, any materials that we get from any source, any training materials, those types of things, opportunities, we're all sharing it with each other. And I feel like, yes, there's 128 of us, but I feel like we're kind of a family.
Mhm.
But we also have, like she said, we have a very, very tight-knit group down here just in El Paso County that we email all the time, we text all the time. And sometimes it's a little excessive, but that's okay. That's okay.
Turn spoke off.
Right. Sometimes I like to sleep. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's great because we can just bounce ideas off of each other, and it's a very good support system
Yeah,
that we have.
networking, yes.
Yes, and the networking is great. So we reach out to everybody, we email, we have a monthly check-in where we, kind of bounce ideas off again and different scenarios and experiences that we've received. We meet with the bench, the El Paso County bench, it's once every 2 months, I believe, is
I think so, yeah.
their bench lunch that we meet with them. So we're doing all we can to get out there and educate the community, educate the legal community itself, because they need the education as well. And we're just really excited. So, like I said, we have 128 of us right now. There's not going to be another exam until the end of 2026, so in
Okay.
November of 2026. So we'll have a new group that'll get sworn in probably in January of 27. Um, so
Yeah, so I mean, if you're an LLP or you're a paralegal and you have some questions or you have any comments, just comment below. Let us know what you're thinking. If you have questions in general about the LLP licensure, let us know. We're happy to mentor, to share stories, to whatnot. This podcast is there for all those things. So please do share down below in the comment section. We are a little new to the podcasting, so there's probably some movements and animated situations
it's a
here.
little clunky.
I
It's
know.
okay.
Work with us. We got this. We're working through it. But yeah, I think we're doing
We're
We're
doing
doing
great
it.
things.
We're
We're
doing
doing
it.
and the thing is, it's a huge movement here in Colorado. And I think that there's other states that are doing similar programs to
Hmm.
this, and there's a couple states that were before us, like Washington and Arizona.
Hmm.
They did theirs before we did. But the feedback I'm receiving around the country is that Colorado is really killing it. A lot of states have reached out to Colorado to get what we're doing to be able to base their program off
Hmm.
of what we're doing. And I know that there's also talk that a lot of other states are planning on doing it, and they're thinking about changing the name so that it's countrywide. Like everybody knows what an attorney is. They're looking at maybe making a name for the entire country for every state to use so that everyone kind of knows what we do.
You know, if you know me, I'm a one for a very good, healthy competition. So Colorado leading is very exciting to me.
It is. It is. It's really exciting for us to be at the forefront of this movement. It's something that, paralegals by nature, we obviously are in this profession because we love what we do. And it's not an easy career field by any means.
No.
There's a
Emotions.
lot of stuff. There's
Yeah,
just a lot of
yeah.
stuff. But we're very, very passionate. We're
Mhm.
very, very passionate. And a lot of us, have been around, like Jessica and I, we've been paralegals for a really, really long time. And and I don't know about you, but I never thought that I would want to go to law school. I figured
No.
that I was too far, into my life to want to take that time out to go to law school, the cost of
Right.
it,
Exactly that.
all of that. But
Say
when
that.
when this program was announced, I'm like, I think that's something I want to do. Like that was the natural next progression of my career was to do something that I know I'm good at because I've been doing it as a paralegal for so long and I know how family cases should run
Hmm.
and all of that. And it just made sense to continue on with this.
And, we didn't touch on this, but there is actually a process before you can even sit for the exam. You have to be cleared to sit, and you have to take some classes, and you have to have some requirements, obviously, like we talked about a little bit. But, there was quite, I think, a year and a half where we had to prepare for this, as well as
Mhm.
studying for the bar exam.
Yes, exactly.
So
So
it's a lot to it.
yes, it's not just, you sign up and you just wing it and
Hmm.
and hope for the best.
Right.
But there is a mandatory ethics course that you have to take. It's a 10-week self-paced course. And then there's optional family law courses. And now they have just announced that there's an optional evidence course, a 10-week evidence course that they're offering. So we're getting all kinds of training and extra stuff. Which is good because, obviously we didn't go to law school. So a lot of the stuff we didn't learn in school, but
Mhm.
we've been shadowing our attorneys for so long that
Right.
we know it. We just
Right.
need to practice it.
Right. Which we're doing. We're doing the CLEs. We're doing a trial school next week, actually, which we're
Mhm.
excited about. And so we're trying to be the best we can for the community so we can present our clients in the best ways.
Yes. And so there are, like I keep saying, I know I keep throwing out the number 128, but
She's stuck on that,
I'm
like
stuck on
the
that
Green Bay
128.
Packers. They never will go away.
But a lot of not the family courts, but the Sherlocks
Mhm.
have in all the counties, most of the counties have a list of all of the LLPs that are taking cases. So if you are looking for someone and you think an LLP is a good fit for you, please reach out to the Sherlocks at the courthouse. Another thing, you can look on the Colorado Supreme Court and you can actually search. For LLPs. I think though that you can only search by name. We don't have a full list yet, but they're working on that so that there can be a list of all of the LLPs that are currently.
But I do think there's a directory up with a list,
Yeah, I
but
think
I'm
that
not sure if
they're
that's
they're
working or updated. Yeah.
it's yeah, it's a work in progress. They're trying to find a home for
Right.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that
I
makes
think
sense.
that's
And you also will find us probably in some of the volunteer positions like Legal Resource Day, Family Law
mhm,
Day. We try to be available to those resources, especially in El Paso County, to support our community out there,
mhm.
and wherever else we can, to be able to, you know, let you guys know what LLPs are and how we can help and just be out there to help.
Yeah. And I know that there's also in El Paso County, and I know that we're talking El Paso County, but that's because that's where we
Hmm.
practice.
Right.
But there's what's called Second Saturdays.
Mhm.
It's a clinic put on by some professionals in town, and they always have a legal representative there. So Jessica and I will be at the one in March.
Northern March, yeah.
And so that's for the community to come and kind of get some information on how divorces go. They have real estate experts. They
Hmm.
have
Right.
what are the other experts?
I want to,
Oh, financial,
yes, and I
financial.
think I'm not sure about parenting. Don't quote me on that, but I think
Yeah.
there's definitely some resources out there on that
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes, absolutely. And again, like Jessica said, all of the clinics at the courthouse, that's put on by the Justice Center and Colorado Legal Services, with Family Law Day, which is usually in May,
Hmm.
June-ish, May, June timeframe
June, I
every
think,
year.
right, this year.
Yeah, and then Legal Resource Day and what's the other one that
But
we
there's a
do?
senior law day.
Senior Law Day, yes.
Hmm.
But
That
usually for the Senior Law Day, we don't get
we
much
don't get much.
family law stuff going on.
Yeah, we don't. No.
Every once in a while we will, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I hope that we hope that this was informative to you a little bit to see to let you know what LLPs do as our first episode in our podcast as official legal huddle. The episodes will probably be looking more like this, especially since football season is sort of over for us.
It is, but we still talk football because
I
we love
know
it so
we
much.
must, we must, and pick on each other because Green Bay.
Whatever. But we plan to have every month when we do our podcast, we're going to have some great guests. We have a bunch of people lined up, possibly some practicing attorneys in town, possibly some judicial officers, some other LLPs. So we've got a lot going on that we've got on the books, and we're hoping to share as much information with you all as we can. So again, like Jessica said, reach out to us if you have any questions, if you need any resources.
Yeah, if you want to hear about anything, any specific subjects that we should cover, let us know. Again, we're a little bit new at this, but we're really trying, and happy to help whatever is needed.
Yes, absolutely.
We're
So
here to bridge the gap.
bridge the gap here at Legal Huddle.
All right, well, we'll see you next episode, which will be the last day of February.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thanks for joining us, guys,
Yes.
and let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.